All right, I was just over in Georgia Giant Slayer's stream, and he said something about Shia LaBeouf news. And now I'm like, what Shia LaBeouf news? What? And I'm looking it up. Hold on, let me bring this over to this monitor so you can see this real quick. Let's see. I don't know if this might not be what he's talking about. This is just the first thing that I found. This was 6 hours ago. Didn't get along with Alec Baldwin when they briefly worked together. Leaked email. Where's the email? What? They had a fallout? No, that can't be it. 3 weeks, 2 days. Shia LaBeouf news. I just wrote his name. What would I even type to like find out what kind of rumor that he's talking about? Does anybody know? Because I feel like I was just talking about Shia LaBeouf. Like, I don't remember when was I talking about it? Wasn't it recent? Wasn't I just talking about Shia? I'm like, man, I miss this dude. I really like him as an actor. I miss Eagle Eye. It was because of Eagle Eye. Pepe Payne mentioned Eagle Eye. We started talking about Eagle Eye, and then I'm like, you know what? Wasn't that Shia LaBeouf? I miss him in movies. We mentioned Fury. You know what I'm talking about? Anyway, I gotta ask George what that's about. I got something really cool, all right, that I just discovered. Shout out to Neo Unrealist on X. He tagged me in this, or he sent it to me, and it's so freaking cool. All right, I'm gonna show you an image of the sun, and then before I even explain what it is, I just want you to know this may be the coolest picture of the sun I've ever seen. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Now, you might think that this is taken from a camera from like 1960, lowest quality, whatever, the first digital camera ever. But you'd be wrong. This is actually an image taken of the sun at nighttime from the other side of Earth. That's right. This is a picture of the sun taken through the entire planet. Yeah. Using neutrinos instead of light. Right? I know. It's freaking cool. All right, hold on. Okay, neutrinos, along with things like electrons and quarks, are fundamental pieces of matter, according to physicists' standard model. But neutrinos are hard to detect. Readily produced in nuclear reactions and particle collisions, they can easily pass completely through planet Earth without once interacting with any other particle. Constructed in an unused mine in Japan, an ambitious large-scale experiment designed to detect and study neutrinos, known as a Super Kamiokande, or Super K, only 500 days worth of data was needed to produce this neutrino image of the sun. Using Super K to detect the neutrinos from nuclear fusion in the solar interior. Centered on the sun's position, the pictures covers a significant fraction of the sky, 90 by 90 degrees in RA and December. Brighter colors represent a larger flux of neutrinos. So this was taken, and this, what's funny? I mentioned Eagle Eye, right? And this kind of neutrino, I've seen an image of this. Let me see if I can pull up an image. Super K. Yeah. Okay, wait. No. That's not it. Super Cameo Conde. Yeah, there we go. Super Cameo Conde. Let me see if there's images of this. We were just talking about Eagle Eye. Isn't that weird? How that they actually, like, I randomly started talking about Shia LaBeouf and Eagle Eye, and then I brought up this picture that I just randomly saw. All right, and it's like the same exact thing. Granted, this is a neutrino detector, and Eagle Eye was a super computer, right? Underneath like a liquid that kept it cool. It was probably like some sort of oil, because you could do that. You can have like a computer submerged in oil to keep it cool. Very interesting stuff, actually. But this is freaking rad. Look at that thing. Can I go to like more? No. This is yeah. I don't want to buy this shit. What the fuck? Get the hell out of here. I just want to look at the damn images. Oh, here's a good image of it, right? Gosh. Look at that. So you can see this is a doorway, right? Here's a doorway, so you can see how big this thing, this chamber is. And this is what they used to collect neutrinos coming from the sun on the other side of the planet, which is how they were able to get this. An image of the sun through the planet. So freaking cool. I'm just like, this is awesome. I just love this kind of stuff. I geek out on it. I was on a where was I? Griffith Observatory in Los Angeles, and this had to have been 10 years ago. There was an experiment there down in the basement. It's just like a one-off right in the middle, and there was this different layers of gas in a little chamber with a glass like box over it that you could walk up and look at. And there was the gas was like it looked like it was raining. There was like rain on it, and I'm like, what's causing this gas to react? Like it looked like it was being rained on, and what it was a neutrino. Something about the different layer, the different types of gas was enough friction or something that neutrinos passing through it would make it move. So you would see it was moving a lot, all of it. It looked like rain. It was like looking at when it's dumping outside and looking down at a puddle. Like the whole puddle is just being bombarded with raindrops, right? Right now, no matter where you are, we are all being bombarded with neutrinos because the sun is just emitting them everywhere all the time. And right now, the Earth, they pass through us, through Earth, all of us, no matter where you are. You could be in a concrete box, it's going right through. And I was actually where this experiment was, and it even said right now there's like an X amount of concrete above us because it was daytime at the time, so the neutrinos were coming from above, and it was freaking cool. It just goes right through everything. So it was such a fascinating thing. I don't remember anything else. Actually, I do remember the Tesla coil that they had set up that they turned on every so often, which was pretty cool. I stayed and like watched it turn on and emit light. It was pretty cool. Also, there was an old telescope that isn't used anymore in one of the towers that you were able to like peek in and check out. Okay, the Griffith Observatory was pretty cool actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, I remember a lot about it because I really I geek out about space stuff. So I'm gonna stop talking because there's more things that are popping in my head. No, fuck it, I'll talk about them. They also had this map that was like the largest image ever taken of all the stars in the entire universe, and it was just this entire wall, and it took over the entire like space section down in the basement of this place. It was freaking awesome. Adam, when you go into Malta, I don't know. I can't wait to go to Malta though. The crazy thing about Malta is I'm so close. And because I'm allowed to stay in Europe, like and I'm in Europe, flying anywhere in Europe is significantly cheaper for me. Staying places is not as cheap because you go to somewhere like Malta and it's like kind of like you don't go there unless it's you're a tourist essentially. I mean, I guess Airbnb, but I do have a child, so it's like, am I going to go by myself? Then it's easy. If not, then then you got to worry about that. So, but anyway, I'm excited. I mean, Turkey. I actually have been wanting to talk about Turkey. Let me bring up this article. It's a great segue because this is something that I really, really want to see. I don't know how many guys, how many of you heard of Darren Kuyu, right? Darren Kuyu, yeah. I don't know how many people have heard about this, but I am so excited about Turkey. I really want to go to Turkey. Nisha has actually been to Turkey when she was younger, and I didn't realize. But man, Göbekli Tepe is there. It's just like one of the oldest megalithic sites that we know about on the planet, at least That's what that we know about. All right, that's how old that is generally accepted in the archaeology department, right? Because some argue that the Sphinx is 26,000 years old. Some argue the pyramids are much older than that. I kind of believe it. I think they have there's enough proof with the Sphinx that make me think that it's pretty far in the distance. But speaking specifically about Turkey, I am really hyped to go there. And one of the reasons isn't Göbekli Tepe actually, or Karahan Tepe, which is the sister site of Göbekli Tepe, just a little older. And some people think it's the quarry site of where they built Göbekli Tepe, but no, it's Derinkuyu. And what's cool about Derinkuyu, it's a town that there was this this rumored famed city of Derinkuyu. It was actually a known lore in the people of the town in Derinkuyu. And one day there was a guy that was trying to expand his basement and just hacking on a wall in his basement, and he broke into a space, a cavity, and he was like, "Oh, this is perfect. I don't have to actually keep mining a cave," because he was basically like mining into bedrock underneath his foundation. And he looked into this cave and kept going further and realizing that, oh, it's much bigger than he thought. And he started, and it got so big that he was like, okay, this is insane, and went to the authorities and like tried to, got the museum involved. And they were like, he called the guy and he's like, have you ever heard of, I think I stumbled upon like a city. And the guy's like, have you ever heard of the legend of the lost city of Derinkuyu? And the officials were like, yeah, that's just a myth though. That's not really. And the guy's like, no, it's real. And check this out. Anyway, here, let me show you guys what I'm talking about. Turkey's underground city of 20,000 people. 20,000. All right, let me just jump ahead and just show you some of these pictures. Look at this. This is incredible. Nothing we're seeing in Turkey is Turkish. Well, yeah, I mean, I get this was long before Turkey was ever a thing, 100%. Okay, here's actually, if you look at this circular stone here, this is actually one of the, like, the doors. And they had, this place was so advanced, it was actually sectioned off, okay, where they could close one of these doors. I mean, you could see, it's a big, heavy stone. Like, once you lock this into place, it's going to take a while to get it out. But they could actually move this stone into place and go further down into their spot. And it was so defensible. Number one, there was only like a couple ways in that they could very easily defend. And then if they needed to fall back, they drop the stone in place, fall back a little further, and then they would be at the next location, probably something like this, where that, further in, that they would also be able to lock it down. They had protections against the wells being poisoned. They thought about, this isn't just like some people mining down into the earth. This was carefully thought out. They had ventilation holes that worked so that airflow happened through the entire complex. And this complex, let me see, do they have the whole image? No, let me quickly grab the image of Derinkuyu. Kuyu side image. There's a not, I don't know if it's famous, but can't. Okay, let me just search up Derinkuyu and see what happens. Derinkuyu. Okay, here's the image that I'm. New tab. Okay. All right, so this is kind of just a rough idea of what this place is, but it was way more defensible. Where like this, it just looks like you could just dig down and like find your way in it. But no. This place was complex. It had spot for livestock. It had place for grain. It had cooking places. It had wells. It had places to get rid of their shit. Like it looks like it had electricity too. I don't know. I mean, that's an idea. I mean, Are you saying because there's lights in here? The wires. Yeah, that's thousands of years old. This wire here. Yeah, they just plugged it in and it worked when they found it. Incredible. Ah, okay. I'm gonna highlight this astute comment here. Holocron Library Fox says, "Yep, this is how your tribe survives the nova." Now, for those who don't know about the micronova, Suspicious Observers, a great YouTube channel, definitely check it out, is talking about micronovas that happen every 6,000 years. That's what he thinks happened 12,000 years ago during the Younger Dryas event. And I see that as a possibility. I don't know if it's true or not, right? I'm not saying that I believe that it's true. I just see it as feasible, right? As that is an explanation. I think that both Randall Carlson, Graham Hancock are correct that they think is an impact theory. That's what hit and melted the ice sheets of North America. That's caused the oceans to raise 400 feet and sunk because of isostatic depression, sunk Atlantis into the ocean. I mean, maybe Jimmy from Bright Insight is correct that the eye of the Sahara is the Atlantis site. Who knows, right? Maybe Green Sahara dried up and the sands blew in and it just completely changed what Africa looked like. I don't know. But what I think happened 12,000 years ago, there was such a major event that, I mean, it set us all back and wiped our memories, right? We are a species with amnesia. And I think it's because all the people that knew all the knowledge died, and all the texts and anything that had the knowledge died with them. So we had to restart. And I think what happened was the impact happened and a micronova happened. Because what happens during a micronova is our poles shift. And when the poles shift, we lose the magnetic shield that protects us from radiation. It protects us from asteroids that are coming in that are relatively small, that wouldn't actually do a lot of damage. And bigger asteroids, when they hit our atmosphere, they still get broken up. Then you get airbursts and whatnot, or Chicxulub, which is what took out the dinosaurs. But if you have, I want to say, like, the perfect storm of during a micronova event, right? We get hit by the solar radiation during the time when our poles are flipping and Earth's atmosphere and magnetic protections are weaker, and then we get hit by an asteroid as well at the same time. So not only are we getting bombarded, or Ben thinks that the mantle separates from the crust and the crust spins because of the weight distribution, because it's a spinning object that becomes loose, so the heavy ice goes to the middle, which is also a theory and I find fascinating. I don't know if it's true or not, but I think that's what happened during the Younger Dryas event. But I do think that this was a thing that happened many times over the course of humanity. And we keep finding out we are getting older and older and older. We know about the white sands in New Mexico. There's footprints from humans that is like 26,000 years old, and that's crazy because we were told that humans didn't arrive in America. The Clovis Point and all the Clovis people was found during the time of the Ice Age, which was 12,000 years ago. So that's when humans first arrived, but we're finding out that they were there long before that, twice as long. And then there's a structure in Africa that is like a wood beam that's like a big room, almost like a Viking hall, but it's 400,000 years old. Well, who made that? What's 400,000 years old? How is that a possibility? Was it even humans? We also know that the Homo naledi, they were an ape-like hominid that lived 200,000 years ago that were burying their dead in reverence. So they obviously were advanced in some sense. They were even burying them with tools, right? So they didn't pick up the tool and say, all right, I'm going to use this now. They said this was their tool. We're going to bury it with them, but it wasn't a human. So it's such an interesting, like, our timeline is shifting. So when I look at something like Darren Kuyu, I see this as, this is tradition. Tradition is, when I think tradition, I guess let me just say tradition is basically teaching future generations things so they don't have to learn the hard way, right? that's one side of tradition, right? And the other side is like there's like culture, singing songs and stuff. But I think that that's like the lighthearted version of tradition that we have now because society is soft as shit. You know what I mean? Like we kind of are spoiled. So the traditions that may have kept us alive, like, traditionally people harvested food together as a family so that they could survive the winter, right? That's kind of how it was before, now we have farmers that just make like a gigaton amount of food to supply the world, right? Because we are interconnected and stuff. So I think there was a tradition for thousands and thousands and thousands of years on this planet where humans were taught, hey, there is an event that happens at these moments in time that you need to know about and prepare for, and it's going to wipe you out. Here's how agriculture's done, all right? And this is what you need. And we're finding these underground bases, these, like, why would they need to do that? Maybe protection from the sun. Ben from Suspicious Observer said that there's a possibility, like, when this solar event happens, this micronova, like, it could fry the surface, like, just instant, just poof, everything just gets fried because the sun, it doesn't go supernova, right? When a supernova happens, that means it's blowing up, it's expired, and it collapses against its under the weight of itself, and then boom, you got a major explosion. Where a micronova is this gravitational wave. At least I don't understand it as well as I would like to be able to explain it to you right now. So let me just preface this by saying that they're from the center of our universe, not our universe, our solar system. Or no, I'm sorry, our galaxy. Yeah, I got it. I got to it. Our person, the Milky Way galaxy, right? From the center, there's this wave system that we've detected that is actually has been proven true, that every 6,000 years Earth passes through the wave of this, like, gravitational wave that emanates from the center of the Milky Way galaxy, and that's what causes the sun to micronova, which is kind of like a burp. He didn't say it first. Okay. Um, that's who I learned it from. If he didn't say it first, he did say it. I'm not saying he said it first. I learned about it from him and the whole theory. So he broke it down for us on Forbidden Frontier, and I've been fascinated by it ever since. Mainly because of how much research I do into ancient civilizations, ancient technologies, ancient life. Where do we come from? How long have we actually been here? Are we from this planet? I mean, there's Mike Barra made this whole argument for humans were from Mars, and I found that very fascinating. But I was skeptical, and I think that pissed him off a little bit. But I don't care. I am a skeptic. I like to have things proven beyond a reasonable doubt, so I could truly trust what I'm seeing. And having someone tell me, oh yeah, this is a explode, like there was a bomb that went off, that this used to be an arena, ran like a basketball arena or something. I'm like, dude, you're showing me like a bunch of rocks that I could see resembling it a little bit, but it's weird because there are things that I'm reading about that I don't know, are leaning towards maybe Mars used to have life on it. Maybe there is water still on there. We just learned that there's enough water under the surface of the planet that there's like 3 times the amount of water that's on the surface under the surface. So like Mars could have underground oceans that we don't know about with like life teeming there. And it's a fascinating theory. But as far as Darren Kuyu goes, I think this is the first of many sites that we don't know about that we've found. There is Penanganam or Ganam, Penanganam, something along that in Indonesia, and that was one of the places that Graham Hancock went in Ancient Apocalypse on his Netflix special. And there are underground cavities that they have found because of LiDAR that they haven't been able to get to yet. But it wouldn't surprise me if it was some sort of ceremonial place that they lived, or there's a monolith on Mars. Well, it's a moon on Mars, not on Mars itself. But also, I've seen it, and I think that's been debunked as far as not being an object placed there. But it is cool. I have seen what you're talking about. And I'm looking forward to like I want to explore Earth more. I think we need to spend a little bit more time trying to go down to the bottom of the oceans, and not necessarily to like, challenge, what is it called? The Challenger Trench or something, the place where James Cameron went to, the deepest location. I don't care about that. I'm talking about outside of the Azores, outside of or over where Mur would have been, or if you look on let me bring up Google Maps to show you something. So if you look at Easter Island, okay, for example, this is one of the main things that I'm curious about, right? So Easter Island, I think it's further up. It's like right here somewhere, right? Okay. So if you look at Easter Island, right? Look at this. In the middle of nowhere. But supposedly there was a massive continent right here. All right, New Zealand was basically the mountain peaks of a massive continent that used to be all of this. Like all the way out here. Like this is where I want to explore. I have a feeling that there are pyramids or buildings or something along these megalithic sites all along there. I think it's going to exist all along this, which if you would think 400 feet of the oceans lower, and if you believe Randall Carlson's isostatic depression, for those who don't know what isostatic depression is, it's the best way to explain is when you're sitting at a cushion on a cushion and you stand up, the cushion will slowly revert back to where it was. And if you think about the globe, if you have a billion tons of ice on the top of Earth, and suddenly it all melts and all the water goes out down into the ocean, it's spinning, so it's liquid, so it's going to go to the middle edge, right? Because the Earth is spinning like this. But all that weight is just released from the top. There's going to be an isostatic depression where the top returns back to form. And by doing that, if look what happens if I go up like this, the middle, like the whole thing kind of readjusts and becomes more of a ball. And that's what Randall Carlson thinks happens to Atlantis. He thinks that it's at the Azores Islands, which I have Google Maps up after this, so I can show you. Azores is like, isn't this the Azores? Oh no, it's outside Gibraltar, so like it's this. So he thinks that it was here because if the ice sheet was here, right, then a big ring around it would come up because of that weight needs to distribute, So what I want is I want to explore around the Azores, like outside here. I want to explore outside here, like Cabo Verde or whatever this is, because if you look at Africa, it does look like water was just boom over all of Africa, right? Coming from Algeria, Libya, over Mauritania, all the way out. And I mean, this thing is freaking weird, The Atlas Mountains. Atlas was the first king of Atlantis, supposedly the first king. I don't know, man. There's two, like this. Look at this. Doesn't this look like water just rushed over? I mean, it screams to me that there was a deluge that went over. And according to Randall Carlson, if you look at an undersea map, there is like 200 miles of just of surface dirt and sand that's under the ocean here, right? And while I'm on the subject, the whole Sahara, this all used to be green. Everything you're looking at right here used to be beautiful and green and lush. Like, you don't think that there's locations under the sand, like stuff that we don't know, never seen, like giant pyramids. I'm sure there's pyramids under here because one of the largest lakes on the planet was Lake Chad, And it was like I don't know, all of this whole region, like this whole thing was a freaking giant lake. And it's like you see what they did on the Nile with the the Great Pyramids. Where are they? Acropolis. Did I go right to them? Yeah. Like this is just imagine what they wait. I don't know why I have this. The Sahara was underwater 8,000 years ago. Well, if it was underwater 8,000 years ago, that means Jimmy's argument for this being Atlantis makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, there is evidence. There is evidence of human structures that were here. There's another one with a circle. Oh no, not that one. No. There's like a circle somewhere. It's over here. There's no way I'm gonna find it. It's way too big. I know it's on the east side over here, but this is cool. All right. It's like there is evidence. And then we have who brought this up? I watched so many random. Who was it? No, I don't remember his name. Ugh. This guy's been to the Eye of the Sahara many times in his life, and I forgot his name. He just did a video. We talked about it over on Forbidden Frontier, where he found a metal pillar in these ruts, these channels. He calls them the Richat channels that run. I think this is one of them. These like straight paths that are like perfectly straight. They look like channels that run straight along. Look at this channel. Look how straight that is. Like how far does that go? Like that's crazy. Look at that. There's these like crazy straight channels that he's got a lot of cool imagery of them. I don't know where exactly they all are, but it was found in one of these channels. And he thinks that it was man-made rivers. Yes, I am. I'm talking about a lot of stuff. It's kind of hard to explain what I think about Darren Kuyu without kind of going through the big picture of how I feel what happened 12,000 years ago, why Darren Kuyu exists, why humans would build an underground city. There's a cave system in China that was underwater for a very long time. And some farmers started fishing in this hole, like a small pond. It was a small pond, the size of my room. All right, smaller than my room, actually. And this fisherman caught the biggest fish he's ever seen. And everyone was like, how the hell is this big of a fish in this tiny little pond? So they tried to find the bottom and they couldn't get to it. And they're like, how big is this pond? What is this thing? And they started emptying the water out. And they slowly started emptying the water. And this place got bigger and bigger. And then they saw stairs built into the side of the stone. And they're like, what are we discovering? And then it got bigger and bigger. And then it turns out to be this massive cave system, right? And it's not exactly the same as this Darren Kuyu, the Turkey city, but it was something man-made. Now they have since added these reliefs that have made it seem cooler than it actually is. I would have liked them to have kept it original, untouched by the artwork that they put on. I don't know if there was artwork there before that the government added it, because they've turned it into this tourist trap now, and I still want to see it, but I know that they faked some shit, so it's less exciting, certain parts of it anyway. I think China's chock full of secrets. I think they have pyramids there that they don't want us to know about. Where's that? This is in China. No, there is a cave in India. But you're thinking of the Barbar caves. Now, those are a different weird situation. There are these perfectly smooth caves that exist in India, but I'm talking about this underground cave system in China that was really cool. I'll try to. Who did I? I don't know if I don't think it was Wandering Wolf. Man, I really do follow a lot of random smaller accounts that go to these types of places. So, and I don't remember them all. I feel like I'm kind of spread kind of thin, because, and I've been doing a lot of like political intake stuff. Like today I'm not even, thank you, Andy. The Long U Caves. Yes, that's it. Andy D. Shout out to Andy D in chat. Yeah, this is actually it. This is the cave system that I'm talking about, the Long U Caves. You can just type that in on YouTube, and I'm sure the video that I watched popped up. It's this dude who went there and tried to get into these other caves, and it turns out there's a lot of different caves, and it's pretty cool. You didn't know the biggest pyramid was in Central America, not Egypt? Yeah, incredible. And not only that, it's covered in a jungle, which is just incredible. Please cover the RFK Jr. stuff. Okay. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop because I could talk about this shit. I could keep going. I didn't even. I wasn't even gonna talk about this at all. Someone mentioned Turkey, and I was like, Turkey. Okay, let me close these windows down. All right. I spent 3 hours watching the confirmation hearing or the roast of RFK Jr., depending on how you want to look at it, because holy crap. What did it feel like, a roast, and not like a comedian roast. It felt like the Democrats were trying to grill him. They really had it out for him. It was rather embarrassing because it's so obvious to me that they are trying to make him look bad. They're trying to get him to say something to gotcha, like, ha, we just proved to the world that you're actually evil. You're in it for yourself. You want the money, and it's like projection much, I know, from the Democrats. And it frustrated the shit out of me, because I do so much research about politicians and like the political landscape. I could see their lies. So I know they're lying. I know what the true context of the stuff that they're asking him about, and I got to give it up to RFK Jr. Before I even start talking about it all. That man kept his cool. I could tell he was getting frustrated, but he didn't let it show. I mean, I just know that he was frustrated. At least I know I would be. Especially when Elizabeth Warren started yelling at him. And he kind of like, he didn't talk back to her, but he was like, you're trying to get me to do this, and I'm not going to do it. And I was just like, snaps. It was actually rather satisfying. So the way I'm going to do this, I saw this before I went live. I was just kind of going to freestyle it, right? But I saw 5 takeaways from BBC. Oops, sorry, wrong one. 5 takeaways from RFK's first confirmation hearing. Now, I haven't read this. All right, I saw this and I was like, oh, let's see what the BBC has to say, and then I'll give my own viewpoint on what they say here, because I have a feeling I'm not going to agree with a lot of what we're about to read, okay? Let's see here. President Donald Trump's pick for the U.S. Health Secretary, RFK Jr., was questioned by senators at his first confirmation hearing on Wednesday. The post of health security is a key federal government position that oversees public health issues, including medical research, food safety, public welfare programs. Kennedy, who has been a vocal vaccine skeptic, that's actually accurate. He's a skeptic, and I appreciate that, because I am too. I'm pro real vaccines. You know what I mean? And it turns out so is RFK Jr. Real vaccines, right? Like the polio vaccine. Although I know there's people out there that don't even believe in that, right? So let's see. He was asked to explain his past comments about the COVID-19 vaccine, which isn't, I guess, whatever. Fucking YouTube. We all know that's not a real vaccine. And other immunizations. He also was asked about his view on abortion and his opinions on the U.S. food industry. And he knocked it out of the park on all of the questions. His hearing was interrupted by shouting protesters. That's true, but they were removed fairly quickly. but he also received loud applause when he promised to make America healthy again, and also when he stood up to leave. I mean, the room clearly loved him. He freaking got people were cheering for him when he got up and left. It was based. He really knocked it out of the park. Okay. Delving into the vaccine comments. Throughout the hearing, senators brought up Kennedy's past comments about vaccination. A group he ran for 8 years, Children's Health Defense, repeatedly cast doubt on the safety and efficacy of childhood vaccinations and continues to push the debunked claim that vaccines cause autism. Kennedy insisted during the hearing that he was not anti-vaccine, but that he merely supports more stringent studies and safety tests for injections. They're missing something very important here. All right. He also wants liability. Okay, that's something that he very made clear. I noticed that they ignored that. Okay, he said that yes, he supports the childhood vaccination schedule. He did say that, and but he wants studies for safer testing for the injections, and most importantly, and I agree with this, liabilities if they go wrong. If these companies are not liable, why the hell do they care if it's safe and effective at all? They should care if they're going to get sued. If they're going to put out a product that is going to be mandated and forced upon a civilization, which is essentially what happened in 2020, 2021, then we got to make sure that if things go awry, myocarditis outbreak amongst soccer players in their prime, ring a bell? I don't know. Yeah, I think that these companies should be liable, and that's one of the things that he's advocating for. Liabilities, and also proper science. You know, when you question everything, and if it gets debunked or proven wrong, you stop doing it, because that's what science is. I feel like the Democrats need to relearn what science is. Okay. He said he supports childhood vaccination schedules and insisted he was not a conspiracy theorist. He said that's a pejorative. There it is. Pejorative that's applied to me to keep me from asking difficult questions about powerful interests. The senators very quickly moved on from that question because of his answer. I just want to add that. I noticed. I was like, they moved on awfully quickly after he said that. However, they zeroed in on his past comments, such as a quote taken from a 2023 podcast when he said, I think some of the live virus vaccines are probably averting more problems than they're causing. There is no vaccine that is safe and effective. And you know what? This is one of those things that was taken out of context, and he explained the context earlier in this confirmation hearing, and it frustrated me to no end because they kept bringing it up. They kept bringing it up, and it's just like, he explained it already. I don't understand. Like they are purposefully, then you know it's malicious, right? Because they're trying to use it as a gotcha. Like, well, we already proved that you're not trustworthy and you're anti-vax, so we're going to use that forever and ever. I don't care if it's true or not. It's the same thing as Trump with the very fine people hoax. They don't give a shit if he was talking about the people on both sides, not the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists that should be condemned outright, verbatim what he said. But of course, they leave the context out. He went on to explain how he was talking about specific things and certain people and how every medicine isn't perfect for everyone, right? That's what he was talking about, that no vaccine is safe and effective because everybody's different. What's bad for me might be bad for I have a nickel allergy. I can't wear watches. I can't wear glasses that have metal that touch my skin because I break out. If anything has metal in it, almonds have metal in it. Certain foods I eat and I break out in a rash because I have a nickel allergy. That's just something that I have to deal with. If there's a vaccine that has like a certain amount of nickel in it, it might be really harmful for me, right? That's what he was talking about in that podcast. Lex Friedman cut him off and he wasn't able to finish his point. All right. And he made that clear to them, but they don't care. The Democrats were just using it as a way to beat him up and make him look bad and untrustworthy in the scene of parents that trust vaccines, that want to get that want to be, on the bandwagon of like, oh, my kid is safe. We're part of the cool club. It's actually really a sick manipulation tactic that the pharmaceutical company uses. Anyway, that's a different subject, but let's continue on here. He defended himself at the hearing, saying his words were taken out of context and that he was going to say "for all people," which, well, I went into more detail there. But Kennedy said he was interrupted by host Lex Friedman, who said those are big words, which it's true, they are. In the podcast interview, Kennedy went on to outline that he called safety problems with several common vaccines, including the polio vaccine, and later called vaccines inherently unsafe, apparently quoting former President Ronald Reagan. Well, it was for all people, but because of how I explained it to you. So I went into a little more detail. I'm actually surprised that they actually put that in there. Okay. A key point made by Kennedy during his opening remarks and throughout the hearing was his criticism of processed foods in the U.S., which he said helped drive the country's obesity epidemic. And it's not just obesity that's an epidemic, all right? It's not just that. It's the fact that obesity is being glorified. Like, it is an epidemic. Don't get me wrong. There are way too many fat people on the planet. All right, not just America, but let's be real. America's pretty fat because of the food. And people use food as a crutch because life sucks. And instead of, dealing with learning how to deal with it, they just eat. And then, they end up suing Lyft for, I don't know, their 15 minutes of fame because they couldn't fit in a car. Yikes. That's a real thing, by the way. That there is actually a woman who that was real. Woman suing Lyft for, I don't know if you heard about this, because the driver's like, you can't fit in my car, and you're gonna hurt my wheels. Turns out he had a lowered car, so she might have actually bottomed his car out. Anyway, that's another subject, but okay. He promised to scrutinize chemical additives in food and said he would work to remove the financial conflicts of interest in the U.S. agencies and food industry. I gotta ask, who's against that? Who would be against him doing that? I can tell you, food is amazing here. The food doesn't last. Fresh food that I get, if I don't use it within a week, it goes moldy because it's fresh. It's not sprayed in pesticides. It's real food. Bread does not last here. You got to eat the bread. The bread will mold quickly. So you got to eat it. It's because there's no pesticides, no shit in it that makes it last a lot longer. Again, he made a point. I'm not trying to stop people from having bread that lasts 2 months, but he wants there to be options that doesn't have that shit in it, and or it's the things that are like that are labeled. Hey, this bread's got shit in it that's going to make it last 4 months, but it's going to give you cancer, or I don't know, give you a gluten intolerance, which I think that's what it is. That's why there's so many stories of these like glutards that go to Italy and say, "Wow, I can eat the pasta. What's up with that?" And then they go back to America and they can't shit anymore because they eat the pasta in America, and it turns out it's just full of shit. The pasta in America is trash. Okay. Back to this. He says we will reverse the chronic disease epidemic and put the nation back on the road to health. I mean, his uncle, his father and his uncle were big, huge advocates for health. Right? The Presidential Fitness Award, I'm pretty sure that was coined from JFK. It might not be. I don't know. But there is some weird correlation in my mind about him being all about physical fitness. And maybe it was the Bobby Kennedy documentary on Netflix that I saw. Great documentary, by the way, basically about the end of his life. And essentially his presidential run in the mid-'60s after his brother was assassinated and Bobby Kennedy was gaining that traction because the people they liked his brother, and then they're like, well, you're for the people too. And they were bringing back healthiness. They want Americans to be healthy. I mean, I want the world to be healthy. A healthy world, a healthy mind, it breeds excellence, right? When you're fat and unhealthy, you give up on a lot of things. It's not easy to go from fat to thin. It's tough. So most people give up, and they instead of working on themselves, they demand that you accept that they're healthy, that it's like fat acceptance now, right? And good on Lizzo. Lizzo was super fat and was doing that fat acceptance shit. Now, she claims she didn't take Ozempic or anything, but she's looking good. Good for her. She lost a shit ton of weight. And I think she's done. I think she hit her weight goals, and she's like, woo, I can eat again. Bananas. Bananas out of my dancers. Anyway, moving on. Okay, asked why he was a big advocate of nutrition-based disease prevention. I'm going to finish this before I say anything. Kennedy said that this generation has seen an explosion of autoimmune and allergic diseases as well as diabetes. He later clarified that he does not want to take away the processed foods for Americans. If you like McDonald's cheeseburgers or Diet Coke, which my boss loves, you should be able to get them. He said, referencing Trump's well-known, yeah. I mean, this is the BBC. I guess people might not know that, but I want to talk about this for a second. This word, right? This combo of words, nutrition-based disease prevention. There's something about that I really love, because the medical industry, the pharmaceutical companies, they never want to treat, or they never want to prevent the illness. There's so little push towards preventative. I know there's good doctors out there and good nurses and good people that help. That, so, not the higher ups, the people in the top. They don't want that. They want a sick population. They are 100% okay with people getting all the cancers and all the sickness, because they, and even, let's bring Pfizer up for an example, okay? They made like $8 billion in 1 year on one product of theirs in 2002. 2002! 20-something years ago. That's how much they were making then on one product. I don't know how many products that they had, but that's a lot. All right? They make so much money, it's insane. But recently, they had a blood thinner medicine that they just put out, and they also had another heart thing medicine that they put out. And of course, there's a bunch of weird, like, blood clogs that were just randomly hitting the populations on the planet, and weird heart issues that were happening on the planet. But Pfizer, to the rescue. Oh man, they've got the answer. They've got the medicine to fix the other issue that the other thing caused. Then these other, they've got, the answer. Here, take all of these things. One of the statistics that RFK said today that really blew me away. I was blown away from this, okay? He said, Americans, I think the direct number was like 48% of the pharmaceuticals that are consumed by human beings on the planet are all in America. Almost 50% of medicine that is consumed on the planet is just America. That is insane. China's got 1 billion. India's got 1 billion. And some change, both of them. There's billions of people on this planet. America's 350, 360 now with Biden's illegal immigration. That's a small percentage of the planet. But 50%. Holy shit. Old people get put on pills. You're right, Duke. Babies get put on medicines. Teenagers, ADHD, like antidepressants in your 20. Like how many women over the age of 50 are on over the age of 40, over the age of 30? Who knows, that are on antidepressants? And how many different types of different medicines are they all on? It's insane. Tom Cruise had it right in the aughts. He said people have a sickness that needs to be cured with words and with understanding themselves and figuring out why they have these issues, not with medicinal band-aids that don't work. None of it's fixing the issue. It's making you a patient for Big Pharma. And that's what Big Pharma wants. And by the way, Elizabeth Warren takes money from Big Pharma. Bernie Sanders takes money from Big Pharma. They were huge against RFK today. Insane. They were ridiculing him and trying to grill him get this, Elizabeth Warren was grilling him for making money outside of this. How dare you sue the pharmaceutical industry and make money from that? Will you promise that you won't do this after you are done being health secretary? And he's like, no, I won't. I won't do that while I'm health secretary, of course, because that's not going to be my job. But his job is litigating, suing pharmaceutical companies for them being liable. And good. We need someone like that who's fighting for the people that are being totally screwed over by the pharmaceutical companies. Good shit. The more I learn about RFK, the more I like him. I like the guy. I haven't seen anything crazy damning. Even watching all the Democrats screech their minds out. If you look at the thumbnail, that's basically the energy that they've got going on. Okay. All right. They go into the abortion shit. Now, I'm going to read it first, and then I'm going to talk. Kennedy, who previously stated that he was in favor of abortion rights, was asked about his stance on the issue by both Republican and Democratic senators. Republican Senator James Lankford asked Kennedy whether he plans to bring back conscience protections for doctors who do not want to carry out the procedure because of their religious or moral beliefs, which I think should be the case. I feel like no doctor should be forced to have to do an abortion. I mean, if you're a doctor and you think that an abortion is murder, that's like you're breaking your oath, the Hippocratic oath, right? Do no harm, right? Isn't that like the exact opposite of the oath that they take? Wouldn't any doctor fight to protect and save the life that's inside of a woman growing because it's a little human, right? I mean, sure, it's a human that can't survive on its own, but my son is 5 months old today, and he can't survive on his own. There's zero chance he could survive on his own. He would be dead without me and my wife. Dead. Yeah. Okay. You know, these people on the left that defend abortion to no end, I think most of them are just women who have had abortions and can't face the fact of what it truly is, or what they're being told to their face what it is. It's a harsh reality, and it hurts a lot. It really does, and it lingers forever. Forever. All right? I can tell you that. It's painful. All right? You might know from my show, you know, I've talked about it multiple times. I don't have to get into the details, but I understand that pain. Kennedy responded by saying that forcing medical providers who believe abortion is murder to carry out the procedure doesn't make any sense. No, it's immoral and wrong, and it shouldn't be done. I mean, abortion in general is immoral and wrong, and it shouldn't be done. But I agree. Forcing a doctor to do that is absolutely wrong. Michelle Bennett, a Democratic senator, then asked Kennedy about his past comments, in which he expressed support for abortion rights and said that governments should not be involved in a woman's right to choose. Kennedy started his response by saying, "I believe every abortion is a tragedy," and that's exactly how he responded with every single one of the abortion questions. He thinks that every abortion is a tragedy, and they were like, "We don't want to hear that. Yes or no?" It was really embarrassing how childish they were all. He later said he agreed with Trump that access to abortion should be controlled by individual states, which I believe I agree 100%. Kennedy vowed to put his more liberal views aside, saying, "I serve at the pleasure of the president, and I'm going to implement his policies." This stance drew scrutiny from Democrats, including Maggie Hassan, who accused Kennedy of selling out his pro-choice values in order to secure President Trump's nomination. Hey, I was pro-choice once. I was. I didn't think about it. It didn't dawn on me. I was a 20-year-old. I was in my 20s. I was an idiot. I thought I knew what I was doing. Everyone in their 20s thinks they know what they're doing. There are few that have some self-awareness to know that they have no idea what they're doing. But I was taught from my surroundings, from society, that abortion was normalized, which is so fucked up if you think about it. And it really has. It's been normalized. It's normal. It's birth control nowadays. Oops. Well, let's just go take care of that. It's so disgusting. And then when you hear about fetal tissue being found in experimental things that Big Pharma's finding out, it's like, did they get a hold of my these are the things that haunt me, you know? These are the things that will forever haunt me and that I will never, ever be able to let go. But I have been able to forgive myself. But not a lot of people have self-awareness or the self-reflection to be able to look inward and face that. It's a dark side of human life and people's memories. There's women that have shirts say like I've had 27 abortions and they look psychotic, right? They can't face that and suddenly they don't want to. They don't want accountability. They can't suddenly admit, yeah, maybe I did murder my kids. Holy shit. Because the thought of that would destroy most people. It's very difficult. Anyway, oh, this is all they had on abortion? Okay. Oh no, well, I'm going to continue. They went so above and beyond. There was a senator who started lecturing RFK about late-term abortion, right? He was so adamant about telling this story about Granny and this and that and the grandchild. Like the dude was trying to paint a picture. He was making himself look like a fucking idiot, okay? But the point that he was trying to make, that a woman went to like, oh, she was going to have a child. They had the name picked out. Everything was perfect and peachy. But then she needed to have a late-term abortion. And the health of the mother was, and she was in a state where abortion was illegal. And it's like the health of the mother is priority in every single state. Every single state. Even where abortion is banned outright. I looked up the laws myself and I read them. I wanted to make sure. I was like, are these things that they're saying true about these states that abortion is illegal? No, it's not. The health of the mother, the ectopic pregnancy, I forget the exact thing, but it's like where the baby is forming in the fallopian tubes, and that could result in killing the mother. All of the states, in every single one, the health of the mother is priority. So their whole arguments about every single argument with abortion, these people, they bring it up, and it's like, who the fuck are you talking about? Like every single state, it's legal. So this guy was lecturing RFK about something that doesn't make any sense. It's already protected. Like the laws, even in where abortion is banned, late-term abortion isn't some woman who found out that the baby's going to kill her, right? That's not what late-term abortion is. It's women that suddenly decide, actually, I don't want a baby, and they fucking kill the baby, right? There was that, what governor was it? There was a governor, it was like a Democratic governor, not Virginia. Was it Virginia? Do you guys know who I'm talking about? But he's on record. There's a video of him saying it on some radio show, talking about a late-term abortion. Like, and it wasn't even late term. It was like after birth. Northam, thank you, Maynard. Yeah. After the baby was born, the doctor will put the baby in another room and the mother can decide what to do with it. Like, what the fuck are you? What? Ralph Northam. Yeah. Oh, wow. No, these Democrats are about murder. They are about child sacrifice. It's like, just come out and say that you worship Moloch. And it would make more sense than this, like, nonsense that they're trying to spout that doesn't make any sense. Like, just be honest. It was Virginia. Okay, I thought so. It's like, I mean, come on. Alex Jones been saying that they sacrifice babies forever, and it's like, he's right. They do. They 100% need the whole system. They're probably getting paid by Big Pharma because Big Pharma's probably buying the parts, the leftover parts that come out. I don't know if you remember Project Veritas, back when it was Project Veritas, did the whole expose on Pfizer that they proved that there was fetal stuff in the experiments right before the vaccine came out. Was it in the actual vaccine? Probably. Is this going to get me dinged on YouTube? Probably. I don't give a shit. All right? God, I'm so sick of listening to people defend abortion. All right? It was triggering. I understand. It's why I snapped at Lydia that one day, because she was being a bitch about it. All right? I at least am compassionate, or I try to be. All right, because I understand it. I was there. She doesn't. And is a bitch in general. So, moving on. All right. Senator Sanders. Oh, this fucking guy. All right. Kennedy was asked by Senator Sanders of Vermont, a longtime advocate of universal health care, whether he believes the U.S. should guarantee health care to all people as a human right, which is the stupidest thing ever. It's like asking for slavery to return. He responded by saying he cannot answer the question so simply. It's true. Well, I mean, I think he could have. No. The answer is no. No, I cannot guarantee that because that is impossible. That's a utopia, communist, Marxist bullshit that you just want to control the system. This is Bernie Sanders being paid by Big Pharma right here to try to make the pharmaceutical companies. They have a freaking monopoly right now. You have a baby. Every single baby gets shot day one with vitamin K. Then of course, then a week, 2 weeks later, whatever, 3 weeks later, they're getting rubella. They're getting. There's a fucking. I've done way too much research on vaccines. I'm not gonna like. I'm gonna. I hope my channel doesn't get dinged, but whatever. You know, I've seen too much, right? But they have it set because what happens, right? They instantly have a new customer. Oh, new baby, new customer, right? Oh, but it's free. Is it free? No, it's coming out of taxpayer dollars. Well, where's that money going? Into farmers' pocket. They're making money every single day, all the time, from all the shit. American babies get ketamine? No, it's to prevent a potential brain bleed or something along those lines. I don't know exactly, but dude, I can't stand Sanders, man. He is. Kennedy posed a hypothetical situation of a 20-year cigarette smoker with lung cancer, then pondered whether the individual would have the same healthcare access as someone who does not smoke. Smoker, Kennedy said, would be taking from the pool, referencing general health care costs. It's a great example. That person chose to smoke, something that we know causes cancer, got cancer, and it's like, dude, you did it to yourself. Why should we have to, the taxpayer, have to pay for your lung cancer? Or a fat person who is 400 pounds that suddenly is having, organ failure because of the immense weight and, horrendous obesity that they're dealing with. Like, again, why should the taxpayer have to deal with something along those lines? Sanders then criticized the pharmaceutical industry, saying that U.S. pays more than countries in Europe for the same drugs. He asked Kennedy if he's willing to end that absurdity. Yeah. Well, guess who was trying to do that? Trump. Trump was trying to do that. In fact, that was one of his main talking points during his first presidency. He implemented the right to try so that people could, if they're dying, like, you could try whatever the hell you want. Hey, if they're saying, oh, you can't try that drug because it might kill you. Guess what? I'm dying. And Trump made it legal for me to try anyway. So buzz off, doctor. Well, he also was trying to implement, because we were being ripped off as Americans, that, oh, if insulin's $35 over here and it's $400 in America, that should be illegal, and you have to charge $35 now. And then, of course, Biden, day one, he got rid of that, and then like a week later implemented it and said, look what I did. Fucking Biden. Anyway. Well, Kennedy responded, we should end that disparity. Makes sense, of course, sure, yeah. Later, Sanders asked whether he supports baby clothes bearing anti-vaccine slogans. Some are sold by Children's Health Defense and the organization that Kennedy founded. Key word there, founded. Are you supportive of these onesies? Sanders asked Kennedy, showing images. Look, unvaxxed, unafraid. Kennedy responded that he has no oversight of the organization and resigned from his position there. Yeah. He founded the company and doesn't work there anymore. He has nothing to do with the company anymore. It's like, Sanders, shut the fuck up. Holy dude. What? But Sanders made a point, like he had these giant plaques made up so he can like use it as a talking point. And he's like, those aren't mine. Those aren't even mine. As is typical, the nature and tone of the questions often differ depending on which side of the political aisle we're coming from. Yeah, From the Democrats, they were all pointed, trying to get you, and oftentimes hostile. And from the Republicans, it was very cordial and oftentimes very pleasant. And they were discussing future plans and looking forward to making America healthy. Yeah. You can see which side of the aisle I'm more inclined to agree with. Democratic senators largely grilled him on his past anti-vax comments, his promotion of misinformation and related to health issues, and his knowledge on key aspects of the U.S. healthcare system like Medicare and Medicaid. Yeah, the thing is, the whole distrusting vaccines, every single time he would discuss it, he says, I just want doctors that don't make money off of big pharma. I want to be able to trust the people doing the science and testing the stuff aren't biased and paid off, because that's been the tradition, right? These doctors, they're just getting paid. They're like, yeah. Those Camel cigarettes are the best ones. Yeah. 9 out of 10 doctors say Camel cigarettes are the way to go. They're nice and smooth. Remember those ads? Those are actual ads. The science can be bought, and it has been bought. And that's what he's trying to prevent. He's trying to bring back liabilities for these companies, if they even had any ever. I don't know. Not in my lifetime, anyway. Some Republicans, however, focused their questions on Kennedy's advocacy for eradicating chronic disease in children and his criticism of the U.S. food industry. One Republican senator in particular, Ron Johnson, I like Ron Johnson. He's pretty cool, of Wisconsin, said that Kennedy was the answer to his prayers and that he was awesome. Yeah. Ron Johnson, that was a good little segment. It was like a breath of fresh air. Johnson himself has been criticized over anti-vaccine misinformation during the COVID-19 pandemic, scandemic. Wednesday's hearing was conducted before the Senate Finance Committee. Kennedy faces a second confirmation hearing on Thursday before the Health, Education, and Labor and Pensions Committee, where he will face more questions from senators. The committees will then vote on his nomination before it can pass to the whole Senate for consideration. I will watch that as well. Yep. And I will report tomorrow on whether or not, or whatever happens. I mean, I watched the whole thing. Nothing really, I feel like I hit a lot of the things that stood out. There was another thing that was said, and I don't remember what it was, but I like almost clipped it. But it was pretty much just Democrats trying to make him look bad, and Republicans saying, we're so happy they're here, because I don't know if you remember what the old health secretary looked like. I'm not going to hurt your eyes. It was the dude that was dressed up as a woman, the tranny. Yeah, the dude that was claiming he was a woman, that was the health secretary. I mean, I can't picture a better image for mental illness than that person. Yeah. When is the vote? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be Thursday, because they went late into the day. Yeah. He goes by Rachel Levine. That's not his real name, though. Which are you going to watch tomorrow, Cash or Tulsi? Well, it said Thursday, so isn't Kennedy's tomorrow? Is Tulsi and Cash tomorrow? I guess I'll just be watching all of them. Your last comment got censored? Dang, that sucks. All right. Okay, let me read some of these chats. Jose for 5 says Ben Davidson is right. Ancient civilizations all have lore passed down about pole shifts and great floods, plus all the sediment evidence. It's true. I mean, it looks like he's right. I don't know if he is or not, but it does seem that way, right? Lord of the Reef for 2 says, WTF is up, Denny's. Adam, do you endorse the onesie? Yes, of course. I would 100% rock a onesie. Lord of the Reef for 2 says, Adam, quote, do I look like I know what JPEG is? I just want a picture of a dang hot dog. I don't understand what that's all about. I don't know what that means. V6 Neon for one. With pods containing data servers under the sea, e.g., Microsoft's Project Nautic, tested this technology by deploying a data center off the coast of Scotland in 2018. Eagle Eye could be anywhere. Interesting. Cool. V6 Neon again for one. Adam, you might want to keep up on what those nut jobs Islamists are up to in Turkey as it borders Syria, Iran, Iraq, Azerbaijan, using Turkey as a key player to invading into Iraq, then onto Israel. Oh, I'm not planning on going to Turkey right now. Just make that very clear. I have zero interest in going there right now. I have a lot of interest in going to Turkey, but not right now. V6 Neon, for one. Modern agriculture, especially in the USA, produces vast amount of food, which is less nutritional than 100 years ago. GM foods and chemical fertilizers, which were banned in the UK and Europe until World Economic Forum. Oh, they love their cheap bullshit, don't they? Oh my goodness. It's ridiculous. All right. V6 Neon for one says Three Gorges Dam had flooded a larger area, so there could be so much hidden by the flooding cultural enrichment. I wonder if that thing's going to actually break. Wasn't it like, isn't it years overdue or something? But Clark for one says, I did a $10 rant, but it's not showing as such, but my bank got charged $10. I'm going to treat it that you gave me $10. Thank you, McClark. Thank you for that $10 rant. Well, I'm not seeing a rant from you. Well, that sucks. I don't even know what to do about that. McCock with 5 gifted memberships to the channel. McCock, thank you so much. I appreciate that. You're a G. McCock again for 2 says, how much do you like it? I don't just like it. I love it. I do. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my show. I appreciate you. I tried to do about an hour. And I went over, but I got lost in talking about ancient civilizations. You got me talking about one of my loves. I freaking love Forbidden Frontier. But I'll be here tomorrow talking about these confirmation hearings, giving you my input and opinion on them all, as I did today with the RFK. And I have a lot of fun doing it, actually. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate you all for being here. Thanks for supporting. Share the stream if you liked it. Give us a like. Do a comment actually down below if you want. I know you're in chat right now, but remember, smash that like button on the way out. It really helps my channel. Really do appreciate you all. All right, I'll see you all tomorrow night. Thank you very much. Good night.